Take away your phone, your job, your clock, your fridge, your lights, your Google search bar. No school, no supermarket, no app to tell you the time. Now answer one question. What would you actually do for the entire day? Because for well over 95% of the time humans have existed, that wasn't a thought experiment. That was Tuesday. We're not talking about one single caveman lifestyle. Ancient humans lived across ice sheets, forests, coastlines, and deserts over hundreds of thousands of years. There was no one script everyone followed. But archaeologists, biologists, and anthropologists have pieced together a rough shape of daily life for many prehistoric hunter-gatherer groups. From fossilized meals, ancient footprints, tools worn smooth by hands, and the closest living comparison we have, hunter-gatherer societies studied today, who aren't time machines, but who offer real clues. So let's follow that shape. One imagined day, grounded in evidence. No alarm clock, just light. Sunrise probably meant it was time to move. The first task wasn't checking messages, it was checking the world. Wind direction, animal tracks, whether last night's fire still had embers worth saving, because starting a new one from scratch could take real effort. Then water and food. Not a fridge door, a memory. Researchers believe survival depended heavily on an enormous mental map. Where the river bends, which plants are edible this month, where predators tend to pass through. That knowledge wasn't written down. It was carried, generation to generation, in stories and demonstration. Finding food was often physical, sometimes dangerous, and never guaranteed. Some days brought success, some days didn't. That uncertainty, not a boring routine, was the real texture of survival.
Here's where the picture gets more interesting than hunting and gathering. Toolmaking wasn't a hobby, it was closer to an entire trade. Shaping stone, wood, or bone took real skill, patience, and teaching. A well-made tool could be the difference between eating and not eating. And most of this wasn't done alone. Evidence for cooperative behavior, shared food, group defense, coordinated effort runs deep in the human story. Survivor wasn't really an individual project, it was a group one. Children weren't sitting in classrooms. Researchers studying comparable societies today suggest children likely learned largely by watching and imitating adults, and through play. Play that quietly rehearsed real skills. Throwing, tracking, building, negotiating. And there was food preparation. Cutting, grinding, sometimes cooking over fire. Fire itself may have done more than cook dinner. Some researchers argue that gathering around a fire at day's end created space for something else entirely. Conversation. Storytelling. The kind of unhurried talk that doesn't happen when you're hunting or gathering.
Here's the part that quietly rewires how you think about this. We tend to imagine ancient life as endless, grinding labor. But that's too simple. And so is the opposite myth, that ancient people had loads of carefree free time. The honest answer is it varied enormously by environment, season, and group, and researchers still debate the details. What does seem clear is this. There was no separation between work and life. No commute, no office versus home. Finding food, making tools, caring for children, and talking with your group weren't different categories of activity. They were just the day. The modern idea of clocking in didn't exist because there was nothing to clock out of. As light faded, so did most options. No street lights turning the world into daytime. Darkness meant real vulnerability to cold, to predators, to the unknown. So people likely gathered close. Fire pushed the dark back, just far enough. And in that firelight, Something very human probably happened. Not just rest, but connection. Voices, faces. Maybe the earliest form of entertainment humans ever had. A story, told out loud, about the day, or the world, or the dead. Then sleep. Not in a bed with sheets and silence, but shared, watchful, and close to others. Strip away the tools, the fire, the landscape, and what's left looks strangely familiar. People solving problems together, teaching their kids, worrying about tomorrow, telling stories at the end of a long day just to feel less alone in the dark. We didn't invent that. We just changed the furniture.